ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Robson goes right to Cleary. Out the back, Edwards. Then he links up with Lomax. He'll score untouched. The Blues are absolutely giving it to the Maroons here at Lang Park. The second try to Lomax. The defence was nowhere.
Former NRL star Zac Lomax is coming to a rugby game near you. The Origin winger has signed a 2-year deal with the Western Force and Rugby Australia, and this story has been confusing. This is a player who was granted a release from the Parramatta Eels to chase big money in breakaway rugby comp R360. He looked to pivot to the Force when that comp fell over, but the money was deemed too low, so tried to join the Storm. That move was blocked by the Eels and the New South Wales Supreme Court. Are you keeping up? Now he's back in rugby, having taken a pay cut and talking about the dream of a Wallabies jumper and the international game. What is motivating this supreme talent? Can he make the cut? Any regrets? And is he done with the NRL? We're about to ask him. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Zac Lomax is Rugby Australia's fresh new recruit. He's here to talk all about it. G'day, Zac.
Hey, how are you, brother?
Mate, really good. Your official statement spoke about a desire to play on a, quote, truly international stage as a key motivation. How central a driver was that to your decision, the global aspect of rugby?
Oh, mate, I think it's massive. Obviously, everyone that I've spoke to in rugby league speaks about the travel across the global stage, and mate, rugby union's obviously played across more than 100 different countries, and that's something that definitely appeals to me and appeals to every rugby union player, and mate, their eyes light up when they talk about it and the travel that they get to do.
The NRL industry didn't love you referencing rugby being truly international. I don't know whether you've noticed that. You might have, caught a few newspaper articles around the traps.
I think that's tripe. Well, this disappoints me because I have backed Zac to an extent through this whole process. But that's just a shot at rugby league. It may be inadvertent, but you've got to be smarter than that. To say a truly international stage, give me a break. You're leaving the game, go.
Do you think your relationship with the NRL's going to be impacted by, the way it's been sort of framed?
Oh, mate, comments can be taken completely different ways. And for me, when that's said, obviously the reality is that rugby is played on a global stage and all around the world. And, mate, for me and my relationship with rugby league, I'm super, super grateful for everything that rugby league's given me. Rugby league's put me in the position to be able to do what I'm doing now. Mate, for me, I've been able to play on the international level and I know what that's like. And, mate, that's my proudest achievement to this day is, being able to play for my country in rugby league. So, mate, I'm super stoked and, mate, I'm super grateful for every opportunity that rugby league has given me. And, mate, who's to say I don't know if I'll be there in the future, but, mate, who knows? As I said, I'm grateful for rugby league and what it's given me, but in regards to comments, that the reality is that rugby union is on a global stage and played all around the world.
I've found the way that the broader media has sort of interacted with this story really interesting. Like a lot of people in the NRL industry super vocal about this move, whether it's Craig Bellamy.
Yeah, I think everyone in the game would like to see him stay in our game. He's an Origin player. He played for Australia, so as I said, he's a quality player, but he's a quality person too. And to lose him to another code, would be disappointing.
Peter V'landys with his big support of you.
We want Zac in the game. I know Zac, and he's a good guy. Like he's been painted as this villain. Because you're trying to do the best for yourself, you're not a villain.
Can I just ask, for someone who's in the centre of the story, who's living it, why do you think people are so interested in your future and where you ultimately have landed?
Oh, mate, ultimately, I guess at the moment, I'm playing representative footy and it's a decision that I've made probably coming into the prime of my career and it's definitely turned heads in I guess good ways or bad ways, and ultimately, mate, it's been my decision and it's one that I've got to live by. I mean, no one else gets impacted by my decision really. So for me, it's a decision that I've made and one that excites me because it's I'm essentially a novice to the game in rugby union, and ultimately that excites me about how much I've got to learn and pick up in regards to being on pace with the rest of the league.
And that kind of draws me into what motivates you, which I think is really interesting, because I wonder whether you're misunderstood, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you took significantly less money to leave the Dragons for the Eels. And I assume the attraction of R360 was somewhat financial, but instead you've ultimately now taken less money to play for the Force. And it makes me wonder, maybe we're not really understanding what drives you as an athlete. What is it that motivates Zac Lomax?
Oh, mate, it's a test, and that's the thing. And for me, coming into rugby union, it was a game that I played growing up, but I didn't want to get to the end of my career and think, I should have given that a go. I should have given this a go. And yeah, obviously, in regards to the rugby league aspect, like it's essentially me walking away from the game. But at the end of the day, that's life, and I'm the one that's made the decision. And there's obviously been a whole heap of speculation about it, but mate, since I've made the decision, like it's good. And at the end of the day, it's a game of footy, but like regardless of where it is I play, but it's been a little bit crazy in regards to how it's panned out, considering that I've said zero about it and never come out and said anything. But mate, it is what it is, and I'm pumped to have a decision done and move on from it.
Like, I think a lot of our listeners would really struggle to get their head around, like, the idea of losing half of their pay packet to go to another job. Like, can you help us understand what that's like, the decision making that goes into that, and the I guess the belief that you have to make that jump, that kind of leap of faith, with a lack of certainty about your future?
Oh, well, I guess that there's not a lack of certainty because I've signed a 2-year deal, so. I'm obviously going over to play for a couple of years, mate, and fingers crossed that, I rely on my hard work and dedication to put me in good stead for whatever is to come in the future.
Must have been an absolute roller coaster to go through this, from sort of the conclusion of last year's rugby league season, the ups and the downs. I mean, Supreme Court battles with multiple rugby league clubs sort of vying for your services. When you found out that last week it wasn't going to go ahead, can you just take us into that moment, like emotionally, where were you with the way you were feeling?
Oh, mate, it wasn't ideal, but, the circumstances aren't ideal. But for me, it's, we've moved on now. So, it's completely in the past, and mate, I'm looking to the future, and, I can keep diving back and giving everyone something to talk about. But mate, it's, I've moved on, and I want to go and become the best rugby union player I can. And that's over at the Force, trying to understand the game.
Seeing Nwangane Tuase, Crichton, Suali'i, Carter Gordon, all these players with NRL experience moving to rugby, did that embolden your decision-making at all? And have you spoken to any of those players, or was it kind of off to the side?
No, not really. Obviously, you've showed that, they want to go and test themselves as well. And Sue's been great. One of my good mates, Angus Bell, is over and playing rugby. He's obviously in the Wallabies team, and good mates to him, and Gussie and a few of the boys that are going to make the change. And mate, that's ultimately because they want to test themselves too. I mean, Gussie's in his prime. And he's going to go and play next year. So, it's going to be a good test for him as well. But he obviously has played a bit more rugby union than I have. But, yeah, I'm sure that he's going to be great when he moves over. What
position are you sort of zeroing in on in the 15-man code?
Oh, anywhere in the backs, mate. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, hopefully Cronny and the coach staff at the Force will be all over that, and they'll help me understand the game from all different aspects.
As you say, you played the game growing up, like you understand rugby. Who did you admire when you were coming through the ranks that you thought you were kind of modelling your game on, if at all?
Oh, Izzy Folau was obviously the one who I watched the most. So yeah, he's obviously a big, powerful outside back and good in the air, and yeah, him for sure.
Another code hopper. That's super interesting. Have you spoken to him at all about this move through the process at all?
No.
One other one is, I guess, Peter V'landys. I mentioned him earlier, a huge supporter of you throughout what has been, tumultuous. Have you heard from him after ultimately making a decision?
No, I haven't, mate. No.
You're off to the West. I guess the next question becomes when we're going to see you in a Force jumper. There's sort of the season's, underway. I guess there's going to be a lot to learn. When are you hoping to be able to pull on the blue of the Western Force and get going?
Yeah, mate, well, hopefully sooner rather than later. Obviously been out of action for a period of time now, so just get myself back up to speed and learning the game the best I can so that I can hit the ground running when it's ready to go.
It's a super exciting story, I think, for sports fans and rugby fans specifically. Zac, thanks so much for your time on what's no doubt a big day. Appreciate your time.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.
Headlines. A huge development in the Iran soccer story. 5 players have sought and been granted asylum in Australia. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said they're athletes who want to be safe and are very grateful that Australia is taking that opportunity. Donald Trump has addressed the news, posting to social media in part, I just spoke to the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese of Australia. He's on it. 5 have already been taken care of and the rest are on their way. Some, however, feel they must go back because they are worried about the safety of their family members. God bless Australia. To understand how we got here, and it's complicated and fascinating, have a listen to our episode from yesterday with Amanda Shalala. She has led the coverage on this story. It's in the feed. On the pitch, the Matildas, they're going to play North Korea in the quarterfinals. After that team was beaten by China 2-1, there was more than a little controversy with the winning goal of that group game coming in first half stoppage time. North Korea's players, they claimed offside in the build-up and threw the toys right out of the cot, refusing to play the rest of the first period. The upshot, China, they won. Australia will play North Korea as a consequence Friday in Perth in a do-or-die Asian Cup quarterfinal. AFL, where Carlton coach Michael Voss might be under early season pressure following an open round thumping from the Swans and a surprise bake from Sam Docherty. So how did he react to the audio of the ex-club captain suggesting nothing good has changed under the coach?
I didn't give it a hell of a lot of thought. Probably only just, I guess, people keep asking me about, last year's best and fairest speech, and culturally we defeat ourselves. So I just felt that was an example of that. For us to have a productive conversation, I think we all need to know that we're not going to get mixed between the old and the new. We're new, and that's the way we're going forward.
That's actually pretty well handled, really. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Hey, how annoying is it when technology changes? Like podcast apps, they're always evolving. So to make sure our new episodes keep showing up in your existing feeds, add us to your playlists. I cannot stress this enough. You've got to tap the follow or plus sign button on the show. And if you sleep on this, you might regret it. So do us a favour. Thanks to Fox Sports and The Australian for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.